Greetings all, greetings, greetings, greetings. The camera really doesn't do justice to the reality of the sunset. See if I can get up to show you a little bit of It looks much darker than it is right now on the camera. That's the sunset. There's this blue sky in between those that white cloud, and then there's the mountains right there. That's the mountains right there. Then we go up to see the gray clouds, and then there's white clouds. In between that is kind of a blue-gray, but the camera is not really showing that. So, but anyway, it is what it is. It's almost full rainy season. Imagine that across West Africa the same thing is happening. Happened in East Africa. But eventually the whole of North Africa, it's going to start raining. And what we call the Sahara, Sahel, the different names will be like the Congo is today. But that's going to take some time. And as we move through that, it's going to be like the hurricane season in the Caribbean. The weather is going to be what people call bad. Anyway, I wanted to talk to something I'm hearing about a lot lately. Some people ask questions about it and so forth. But I always talk about these things in my videos. And to some extent, I am repeating what I'm saying on other videos. The other day, I saw the video with this professor, and it's on a channel called Make Africa Great. This guy picks up information, speeches like what African leaders make, and he puts them out and gives a comment on them. Make Africa Great. And his latest video, I forgot the name of the professor. I'm not going to stop my video to go get it. Anyway, this professor is saying that Africa is going to be enslaved again. Africa is not going to be enslaved again. Africa is already in the process of being enslaved. And I've been talking about that for the last 3 years. 3 years now. Every leader in Africa, if Africans look at what's going on around them, should at least seen one of the videos I made warning about what's going to happen. But here he is saying Africa is already enslaved. And the Europeans been telling you that. They will say, look at that garden. You know, we have to come back and then later on they come back and say, yep, we're doing this. And I made a video yesterday showing you what the plans are. Well, that's not the first time I've made a video showing you what the plans are. They're telling you this strip of Africa, we're going to turn it into what New York City to Washington looks like. And what look, anyway, these people have their plans. They're not planning things. They have the plans on the drawing board years ago, and they're already putting it into place. If you go to Ghana, you will see that they're putting it into place. If you go to Nigeria, you'll see they're putting it into place. They're places in Nigeria where are all these $1 million, who are going to buy all these $1 million houses? Huge apartments, tracts and tracts of huge apartments being built. Ghana, the same thing. Now, a few years ago, well, not a few years ago, when the woman that used to rule, her family used to rule half the world, well, the world, even America. When she died, African leaders got paraded how foolish they look riding a bus to this funeral. They spent millions of dollars flying to London. And then when they came back and everybody was laughing at them and says, you know, we got to make a different plan the next time. One of us will go. Guess what happened? They all went to France next. And after that, they all went to Washington. Now they're in Korea. All of them. And there's an argument going on in Kenya about this one who spent $10 million to go. How much money did he get from the Koreans? And you will see all of them in the begging mode. Every one of them in the begging mode. Even Zimbabwe. We are friend to all and enemy to none. Can you imagine that? When the same Korea would not invite them and help with the sanctions against them, against Zimbabweans, to starve them to death. And now he is in Korea singing praises to Korea. No shame. No shame. Now, there's an absolute necessity for new leadership in Africa. Leaders who don't have to call London, France, and America to say, what should we do next? But can sit down with one another instead of threatening one another with sanctions. Because, I mean, just look at Niger, Burkina Faso. ECOWAS, these people want to free themselves from the wickedness of the leaders. And ECOWAS stood up and said, we're going to go to war against you to reinstall that thief that you put out. In Gabon, you see pictures of, oh man, suitcases of money. Suitcases now filled with money. While the people in Gabon can't afford electricity, don't have power plants to give them lights. The children don't have books in school. If they have schools, no good health care. Not one word from the ECOWAS leaders. As a matter of fact, African leaders in general. When they got rid of the leader of Gabon, all they wanted to know is, when is he going to get back in power? When are you going to put him back? When are you going to have new elections to install somebody else just like him? The only way to get out of slavery is to fight your way out. Nobody is going to free you. A lot of people in America today think they're free. A lot of people in the Caribbean think they're free. Just because they're not picking cotton or cutting sugar cane, they think they're free. They're not thinking, I make $20 a week and I spend $25 just to live. And if I get sick, I gotta go to Queen Elizabeth Hospital and die there before I get good care. I can't afford to buy my children school uniforms. What do you think that is? If you're working, you can't afford to live off the wages that you're making. You are enslaved. The world is enslaved. There are very few people who are not enslaved in the world today. There are those who are given enough to live and can spend extra because those are put in charge. They have to carry out the orders for the people who have the power. The slave master, the real slave master. But Africans have given up the fight. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. I mean, they're giving up the fight. Now, I talk to diasporans, they come on my channel and say, make comments. Says, well, the experiences I have are because I look for them. And if I was positive, these experiences wouldn't happen. They leave America, come to Africa, thinking that all that's required is the money that they have in their pocket. But now, guess what's happening to the money? They're not paying attention to what's going on back in America. The money, the value of the money is going. The money is being spent. And those who think that, well, I retired with a pension, guess what? Then the company goes out of business and your pension cannot be paid. What are you going to do? A lot of you go to Africa, have your little internet channel, and you have to entertain, because if you talk about things like what I'm talking about, YouTube will take your money, your AdSense will be gone, and then you'll be crying. Got to go back to America, got to go to work, I don't know how am I going to live. I'm not saying don't come to Africa. You should listen to what I'm saying. You have to do something. You can't come to well, you can. Go to Africa and sitting down, you're going to die quickly. If you look around Africa, you see that most of the people alive are under 25. You know why? The elders died off. Why did the elders die? You don't talk about that on your channel. You never talk about that. Healthcare system, education, sanitation, water, electricity, the streets, you never talk about it. I don't know if you know about a channel named Bags. The other day he was building a road to his place in the Gambia. And I've seen other people do that. Their rivals did it. Those, the place where they live were there long before, hundreds of years. And nobody built roads to those villages in the Gambia. It's not that the money wasn't available. It's the mindset. They have to build roads that other people will use. Otherwise, people I seen gillies stuck in water 3 feet, 6 feet deep. Trucks stuck in the same pool, lakes. Cars. Every rainy season it happens. But a simple gravel road will stop that. But you won't find it in the village. You get off the 2 main roads that drive to Gambia and you're into mud. And in the rainy season it's gone, the sand comes. And you still get stuck in the sand. I've seen people. So you had to come with the mindset to build something. Because when the West fall, and Africa in the condition that it is, and the Africans saying, he's starving now. What are you going to do? They don't grow food in Africa that feed Africa. If you come to Gambia, most of your food that you eat is imported. Except even the rice. Imported. So if you don't have some kind of ability And if you're not coming to plan on changing Africa, it's going to be difficult. Tell your friends if they plan on coming. Yes, you can live. You can live. But things are changing. And the big houses that you see going up, not being built for Africans. The Europeans have a plan to come to Africa. That's where the resources are. And you need resources. Look at what's happened to Europe during this war. They don't have resources. They used to get them from Russia. Now that the U.S. states blocked that route, they're rushing to Africa. Because they know they can take resources from the African and the African won't complain. They can't go to China. They can't go to any other place in the world. They have a fight on their hands. Africa, they don't have to worry about fighting. Wherever you are, think about what I'm saying. You don't have to believe me. Just investigate it. Look at it. Have a great day wherever you are. Peace.